Hello everybody, August 20th, 2022. We're going to take a look at Bitcoin's action tonight. First up, what I said on Monday. So first off, I said we're still expecting lots of chop. I said 25K has been attacked and we got rejections each time. I said we should see at least one more high closer to 26, but it doesn't need to. It did strike the minimum requirement I had for it to complete that 5 waves up into the 25K region. It did strike that, and that means it can top out at any time. Okay, I was fully in risk off mode. And then I copied again the various paths that we had here. So yellow path, basically 25 to 27, kind of expecting maybe we get up a little bit higher into the 26 region was the most likely at that time. Blue path was more bullish. I'll take a look at that. Orange path was kind of a variation of the yellow. I'll take a look at that and revise it. And then red path is something we always just have to keep in mind because the action off the low has been corrective. It's possible all of this is corrective and we could see a lower low based on that. But we should see some indications of that if that was going to happen. All right, so let's take a look here and see what's going on. All right, so first up, we've got our count here that we've been following along with, where our first wave is there, second here, that's our third, there was our fourth, and we were looking for a move right here into this area for wave 5. And you can see we struck just the very bottom of that. All right, so we did strike the minimum requirement, as I said, and we can call that a completed 5-wave move. Now, if this had stayed, obviously we've seen some dumping happen here. If this had stayed within the channel and bounced, we still could have seen that orange path play out, which was going to be essentially that we haven't yet seen the end of 4. That 4 was going to come over here, right? We were going to see an A, B, and C over in 4, but it really should have held the bottom trend line there and then given us a new high. Now, I've said time and again that diagonals are quite untrustworthy. Typically, when we see them break down, this is a signal to me that that was our top, and I'm not going to expect that we come back up here before finishing this correction. However, because diagonals are incredibly variable and annoying, this could still do this. It could still be a 4 here, and we could then still see it come up here into this area, and then still see it drop down from there for our second wave. That's still a possibility, so I need to kind of keep it on there as a possibility, but I do not think it's highly likely. Let's see here. Let me just kind of modify that. A, B, C, and orange. Let me just make a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in orange here as well. 4 would be there, 5 would be there basically. All right, just so I can keep track of it. Again, I don't think this is actually what it's doing. I don't have much faith in it, but possibility, so I've got to keep an eye on it. All right, so there is orange, still semi-active. All right, blue path. At this point, the original way that the blue is written is obviously wrong at this point. Because this, that would have been wave 1. I was thinking this was wave 1, 2, and then maybe this was going to do ABC in a more aggressive third. Obviously, we've failed that at this point, so I think we can probably take that one off. Unfortunately, there are some other possibilities in here as well. Because this is so choppy, it's just very difficult to kind of see where we are. So the blue alternative, I suppose, at this point would be basically 1, 2, 3, or maybe, no, I'm sorry, A, B, C. That's what I meant to say. A, B, C for a 1, A, B, C down in a 2, A, B, C up in a 3. So essentially this could be making a much larger diagonal. To be honest, I'm not even going to bother putting that one on because I feel like that's quite unlikely, but again, because this is all chop, it is a possibility. So I'll just keep that in the back of my mind, but I don't think it's worth putting on here. All right, red scenario. Again, because this is all chop, this could easily be W, X, Y, and now we're going to die to a new low. Certainly a possibility. I don't believe that's my primary possibility though. All right, if that was going to be primary, I would have expected the dump to begin with an impulse. And right now, I cannot say that we have an impulse down. Let me just go down to like a lower time frame chart here to show you what I mean by that. This initial move here is not impulsive. So while we likely have 5 waves down, it's more of an amorphous 5 waves. It's really not an impulsive 5 waves. And that's likely telling us that this is, in fact, an A wave. So here's what I would say in the micro is what we have. And we're going to make this small. And we're going to make this yellow because this is part of the primary path. All right, so we're ignoring this C and 4 for now because that's part of that orange path that I think is less likely. All right, but this whole thing, I really don't think it looks impulsive. Let me just do some quick fibs here and say, all right, if that's 3 and that's 2, 4 and 5, I mean, it did hit where it needed to. I really can't get over this initial wave. That's not an impulsive wave down. So it's very, very unlikely that the rest of this is impulsive. Even if I go down super low time frame, I just can't see like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sort of. It's just not impulsive in my opinion. All right, so that's why I'm viewing red still as the least likely of these possibilities, but it is something that we need to be aware of. All right, so here's the thing. In either case, we do have 5 waves down, right? And so I think, as I said, that's probably our A wave. So let's just take a look here. Fib from the top to the bottom we struck today, assuming we have struck a temporary bottom of sorts, which I think we probably have. It's probably a pretty safe bet. We will likely then see a move up to somewhere between the 382 and the 618 for a B wave. And so that's going to look like this, essentially A, B somewhere into that box, and then a C wave down a little bit further down, and that'll depend on how high we get up here in this B wave. Because this initial A is 5 waves, that does indicate to me that we are probably going to get a more traditional ABC. Probably. Even though it's not an impulsive wave, it is still 5. And basically what I mean by that is if we were going to get something that was more like this, like a flat correction, usually that A wave is 3 waves then in that case. We'd have 3, and then we'd have 5. If that was going to do an expanded flat. So because we already have 5 here, typically what that says is we're likely only going to get, a 3-wave move up into this area, about 22.3 to 23.5, give or take, and then a C wave a little bit further down. So all of that being the case, I'm going to look to lighten up on crypto exposure and raise more cash in this box. Okay, I raised cash here. As we were approaching that level, I was raising cash. I have about somewhere between 15 and 20% in cash right now. So I do have spare cash already, but I'm going to look to probably increase my exposure to, well, not my exposure to, decrease my exposure to crypto and increase my cash allocation in that area there, because I think it's likely we get one more low. Even though I don't think we're going down, I think the bottom's already in, I don't expect a new low, I still want to raise more cash here to put in on this next lower low. And also to insulate against, the possibility that it could go to a lower low and we could, be breaking down. So that's my plan. Obviously, again, make your own plan, but just letting you all know what I'm doing. I'm going to look to increase the amount of cash that I hold right here in that zone, and then look for lower. All right. So that's that. Let's put a little danger zone here. Okay, there's danger for a B wave. This was danger for that to be the fifth wave, which played out nicely. Just gonna try to clean this up a little bit. That's still a possibility there. Okay. All right. The other thing we can look at here is, as I said, that's the minimum requirement that we needed to say this is a 5-wave move off the low. I don't like how low it is. I would have preferred if it had pressed up higher, but I can still consider it 5. So that's the other reason to lighten up here, is like, I really, this action, it didn't really look complete. It didn't push up, as high as I wanted it to. So we are definitely in sort of more of a dangerous area now. Again, my ideal situation is that we have already struck bottom. I think that's very likely the case still. I'm not changing my mind on that. But what we can do is draw a fib from the bottom all the way up to the top, because if that is our 5-wave move up already, then that means that we're now in our second wave. Second wave, I've said before, in an impulse typically goes 382 to 618. That's this area right here. So we're already there. Okay. Now, in a diagonal situation, we often see it go much lower than that, because diagonals are just untrustworthy and they don't lend a lot of confidence. They're telling us that the bulls have, they have the upper hand, but they've got little conviction right now, which isn't necessarily surprising since we dropped from 69K down to 17. Not surprising the bulls don't have much conviction. So because of that, we really need to extend this box down. It can go, I'm expecting, based on where we're bottoming here and where I think B is going to go, I'm expecting we kind of reach this 764 area, 19K. That seems like a really good target, but we'll get a better target once B is in place. But it can go a little deeper than that. You don't really want to see it go past the 886 though. So 18.3, really don't want to see it go below that. Below 18.3, and we're going to have to be very careful. It is possible, and we've seen it before in Bitcoin, it's possible that this essentially just resets. So the best case scenario, if we go below 18.3, best case scenario is that we get a double bottom. It comes back down to about 17.7 and double bottoms there. But I won't have high confidence in that if it does. It'll be just as likely at that point that this would be forming a 5-wave move, a new 5-wave move down, which would then break the larger impulse by going below 15.7, and that's something we definitely don't want to see. So all that to say, this large box should be major support zone. I do expect to go further down in it in the primary scenario, and that should happen after we see a move up somewhere into this area here. Now, assuming all of that is correct, and again, we have many different possibilities because of all the chop, but assuming all of that is correct, this will form our larger wave 1 and wave 2 to begin our next move up, which should start us off on the move to 100K plus. But that, there's a lot of work still to do. The bulls have done a great job or a decent job of giving us 5 waves up off the low. So the risk reward right now is certainly in favor of longs. Short-term shorts, once we get into this zone, sure, absolutely, you can scalp a short down, no problem there. But the risk reward, in my opinion, based on all of this action, is certainly for accumulating longs. And that's the other reason I didn't sell all of my crypto. I just started raising some cash, right? I was easing in here, I was easing out here. I'm going to start easing in again in this area here. And that's pretty much what we're looking at. So, again, lots of different possibilities. I'm sorry I can't give a more informative answer on where, I think we're going in the short term, but other than, I believe we should get a bounce here and then one more low. So hopefully that's helpful anyway. But that's my plan. Make your own plan. Any questions you have, come see me in the Trade Like a Whale Discord. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Check out some of my other videos. You can see the efficacy of my methodology here and how well it's worked over the past couple years for us. So make sure you go back and check out those other videos. All right, you guys have a great weekend. We'll see where we are on Monday.